the field, well, I was going to say they're all together when you come back to join us in this race, but there's already one rider from Festina beginning to plough his lonely furrow at the front of this one, but as ever, the speed hovering around the 35 to 40 miles an hour makes it extremely difficult for these riders to get away. They're just going to have to hope that the bunch sits up, ease up, and then the ever-hopeful riders can get away at the front, but otherwise the sprinters will be licking their lips with anticipation that this might come together for the finish in Rennes. They come down then in toward the finish in Rennes. It's seen the finish here many times in the past, and this had the first stage into Rennes in the Tour de France way back in 1905. It also had the start of the Tour de France in 1964. The last time that they had a state finish here, Ribeiro, the Brazilian, won the stage, and that was in 1991. So Rennes waiting with bated breath to see if these riders are going to come back together. We have a fantastic sprint, or whether there'll be yet still a lone break. They're all trying it on all the time. There's a big crowd gathering here. There are 200,000 people live in Rennes, and they had the first depart say in 1964. That was the time, the big epic duel between Arcachil and Poulidor. And in 1989, Greg LeMond had a tremendous surprise when he took the yellow jersey in the contre-la-montre, the time trial from Dinard to Rennes. And so Greg's not with the race now, if you didn't get information early on, and so he's out of this one. And one of the Motorola riders, as soon as he looked up to see who he was, the motorcycle accelerated away from him. So LeMond has fond memories of Dinard Rennes when he took the yellow jersey in 1989, but he's out of the race now, retired way back down the road. We don't quite know why it was then, but the crowd in Rennes then could be seeing coming out of the thick, and I was going to say, that's Frankie Andrew at the moment. Now, they won't let him get far away because he's in superb form at the moment, Frankie Andrew, but he's only 43 seconds down. But unless, of course, the big men back in there haven't made a note of the numbers and are waiting for the team manager to tell them what's going on, this lad might have a little bit of a lease of life, but we're getting around about, what, 16 miles to go, I suppose, roughly. I haven't checked the distance yet a while, but there's still some considerable distance, and a man like this one is a danger to the yellow jersey. And amazing, Armstrong going up to him. Those could be tactics of Motorola. Well, I'm not quite sure that was Armstrong. I picked it a bit blurred here, but when we go back down again, I don't think that it is Armstrong up the front. And hang on, here we are.
It doesn't look like it's like a
oh, no,
telecom, no?
It's it's one of the national jerseys. It's
telecom. It's the German champion. It is, yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, yeah. The very jersey look very, very similar when you get the shot from the top. Then to see that it looked like the Le Mans.
Jans Hepner.
Yeah, no, but I thought it was. It looked very similar to the rainbow jersey on a rather blurred screen here.
I recognise the hat because from the aerial shot, Lance Armstrong wears an ordinary leather hat, whereas that was a bell hat. But like, it's amazing, like you see Andrea in the front here, but Sean Yates, there's groups here everywhere at the moment. But of course the Motorola riders are defending Andrea's chance in the front. But what happens is, and you have Beat Zberg coming across with Alfie Joperov. But what happens with some of the riders that are less known, like we all know Capucci, we all know Indurain, we all know Bunyo and all these riders. So when the other riders see these guys going ahead, we know we must get across them straight away. But until they get some kind of feedback to know who's in the front when it's an unknown rider, could get a minute maybe before anybody realises who it is or what time he is behind the general classification.
And Sean Yates is there for Motorola, but of course he won't be wanting to lead this chase up to Frankie Andrew, the big strong lad from Forest Row in Great Britain. Met his parents a couple of days ago when we went through his home territory, and now he's riding in France where he's seen great success in his day, particularly winning that time trial stage at Vasacol a few years ago in the Tour de France. And what a great day it would be if he could get a victory as well. He's got that sort of strength to go off the front, but I thought they've got to do a lot of work to set things up for Lance Armstrong. But Frankie Andrews down the road, they can see him, and it'll be interesting to see when Yates gets up to him whether he will also have an attack or will just stay and wait for Armstrong to come up and launch something in conjunction with him.
Actually, what happened was when they get across to Andrea, that Sean will ride with them, because there's no point in Sean attacking, because Sean is so far down on GC. He will more than likely ride and help the group go as fast as they can to open the gap on the bunch, because you can imagine if Andrea is only 40 odd seconds down on GC, if they can group and stay away, 40 seconds is not a lot. So Sean, like, will be there as a teammate. He will be, we see him here going through, he will definitely ride with the group. This group is a fantastic group now. There's a lot of good elements in it with Guido von Tempi, Beat Svergan, Jan Ebner. They're all riders who ride. One thing I've noticed with this Tour de France in the last couple of days is when you get a group away, it's very, very often we see good riders in the front. Like the good riders normally they hide themselves at the hills, whereas we've had every group we've had away today, they've all had good riders, big riders. Unfortunately, the group with Cherry Mary did not stay away, but every rider in that group was a good rider and capable of riding very well. Unfortunately, Mary was there. It'll be interesting to see now what this group does, because the fact that Motorola have 2 riders in it, the other riders may decide, well, okay, it's not enough for us to ride.
But of course, we'll have the same thing as with Marie, though, won't we? Because surely these lot are going to say, hey, you know, you're nicely placed on general classification, we'll sit up, because they're going to come and catch you as well, because only 20 kilometres to go now, just on 12 miles. You know, are they going to say, well, let's get on with it?
The thing is, Cherry Mary is well known, you see. That's what I was saying earlier on. Cherry Mary is well known, so when we see Cherry Mary going, we say, up, Cherry Mary, danger.
Yeah.
When we see Andrea going away, we don't really know him. You know, he's a very unknown element for the moment. So until the word gets back to the team car, I guess the word gets back to the team car up to the riders again, they can have a 30-40 second gap.
And with 12 miles to go, that will be a significant gap indeed. Is Eddie Sainer coming up now? Certainly ploughing away here and opening up a gap as well, so they're all jumping across as fast as they can do. And it is Eddie Sainer on his way up, another very strong man. That will add some power to the breakaway group at the front. It really is going to be some break we've got here, and the gap is opening up behind Sainer, but they're chasing him down as hard as they can do as well. What a race we've got today.
There's not even 1 minute not even one dull moment in this race today, Dave. Since we took over this show about an hour and a half ago, we have had unending attacks from everybody. As you see Vanzella here riding a real teammate's role. He's riding in the front, just chasing down Eddie Sainer, because as you said earlier on, Lucio got the last bonification of 6 seconds, so he is now the race leader. So even though Vanzella is riding the yellow jersey, Lucio is actually the race leader on the road. That's why Vanzella is riding in the front now. It's very, very good to see it also, because he accepts that, well, okay, I had to go, I have my yellow jersey for the last 2 days, so Lucio is taking it off me now, so I'll ride for him. Even though I have the yellow jersey, he could have waited until tomorrow to become a teammate, but he's actually being a domestique today.
Well, this is an epic race, and we've seen a lot of incidents in the race itself. And also we went past, by the way, that through the town of Sainte-Marie-Église, which is where the 101st Paratroop Division of the Americans landed, and that occasion when the American paratrooper got hooked up on the church, which made the part of the story of the longest day. You may remember that film. Well, we went through there today, and all the banners were out with Thierry Marie in that town, but he comes not far from there. And the field then easing back a bit now. Thierry Marie was absorbed further down. We've been over some very historic country. We see some epic scenes, we see some epic racing too, and still this little group is away at the front. I actually went off the course and had a look at another little village. I'll tell you the story here, which you might like. So Saint-Marie-du-Mont, and I read a plaque outside that one, which went back to the landing on the 6th of June, when in fact there were 2 Germans up in the clock tower, using it as a vantage point, a lookout, and the curate went in to conduct a mass and took his congregation in with him. And while they were going in, and in fact the 2 Germans on guard asked him if he got any wine with him, the American airborne lads climbed up the church tower and shot these 2 fellows above, and while they were having the mess, down came all the blood, and the bullets were flying all over the place, and all hell let loose. And later on they found 2 of the Germans sheltering in the confessional booth. And so
I'm sure what's happening here, Dave, is the boys behind, the MG riders, don't realise that Frankie Andreu is here in the front group. They don't realise that he's actually only 43 seconds down on GC. If they did realise that Andreu was here, they'd be riding behind at the moment, and they're not. So I feel that in a couple of minutes we'll have one of the GB riders coming along, going back to the car maybe, and coming back up again and giving it the time information to the team leader, who is to the team captain, who is this distance race is this Rob Sorensen. So because normally if the GB riders knew that Andrea was in the front, they're not going to take any chance in losing the yellow jersey today when they've had it shared it between them over the last 3 or 4 days.
So we're back to the race after a lesson in history, and so with the 16 kilometres to go only in this one. Yates then 7th overall, 38 seconds down on general classification. Frankie Andrew 9th overall, 43 seconds down on general classification. What a turn up for the books it would be if we got Yates in the yellow jersey. I mean, that would just blow the brains of all the press, and certainly with the chasing group here now, GBMG have just lost a bit of concentration. Kiepucci's come up toward the front there, but he won't chase at all with Bontempi changed teams now. I get confused. I wonder if the riders stay in the same team a bit longer. I think Bontempi is a clear rider.
You see one of the
Châtel
riders having a puncture. You can see how fast the wheel change was. So I've been looking at Frankie Andrew for the last while, being 43 seconds down, but I didn't actually realise that Sean Yates is only 38 seconds down. So Sean Yates has every reason himself to ride in this group. But it's a long way to go yet, and I'd say that word will be coming up very quickly to the MGGB riders. The group in front is very, very dangerous. They don't want to take any risks of losing this jersey now. If they keep it today, they keep it for another 3 or 4 days if they play their cards right. So they don't want to take any risk at all of losing it. And there's 2 chances of losing it today if they don't get a move on.
Strong Dutchman then, Gerrit de Vries from the Nobelmail Laser team, just prizing himself off the front of this one. And another of these riders who likes these long, flashy, sort of hard rides in towards the finish and just concentrating there. He's travelling along here at around about between, what, 36, 37 miles an hour, making it ever so easy, but it isn't. They're really putting on the power, and they're on the big ring and the little sprocket at the back, and everybody now is gritting his teeth. It's not far to go on this, the longest stage of the race, 270.5 kilometres. That's 169 miles in all, and look at the strain, the determination that's going on up at the front, and here's the confirmation of the gap on now. 37 seconds it is, so
Yates is 1 second away from the team from race leader's jersey. 1 second away. If they go 1 second more, Sean Yates at least he can say for once again he was at least for once in the Tour de France 1994 he was in the yellow jersey.
Well, he's got some good riders with him at the moment, but the riders behind as well also will be keen to close that gap down, and it's one of those courses where on this particular part the breakaway lads can be seen, but they begin to rock on this slight climb. There's a bit of a drag up here.
A lot of action from behind. There's a G-Wiz Bianchi rider attacking. It's very strange because they have a Bontempi in the front.
No, that's Mercato Nuno.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Dave. Yeah. The blue jersey, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's Mercato Nuno normal. I'll explain to the people watching if they don't understand.
Yellow.
They're yellow normally with just a blue band across, and they reverse the colours round now. Where it's yellow, it's blue, and where it's blue, it's yellow. Most complicated. But they were marking out again because we can see just moving up through now there at 134, that was Udo Bolt. His job is to sit on because Hepner is up in that lead as well. Jens Hepner's no slouch either. I think he was, what, 4th in the World Amateur Championship a few years ago, but he's a very good rider. I'll look at his details in a moment for you, but he's also a very, very strong, hard rider, and there's a nice cracking little group up in front. Just keep your fingers crossed.
As I see Francois Simon here having to go in the front. It's a very strange family, the Simons. Actually 4 brothers. There was Pascal, who was a professional with myself, my generation. Then there was Jerome, who was a very good rider, who retired this year. Then there was also another brother called Regis, who won a stage in the Tour de France back in 1985. And then the latest brother now is actually Jerome, who was, or not Jerome, sorry, Francois, who was riding for the Castorama team and having a very, very good career so far.
Are there any more Simons left?
There's one brother left, Stephen Simon, who is actually riding between Jerome and Francois. He must be about 26, 27 years of age, who is happy enough to ride as an amateur.
It sounds, in fact, a bit like the Plancart family. That was a dynasty in its own right, but they weren't all brothers. They were sort of brothers and uncles and what have you, weren't they? All, and cousins
all around, yeah.
This Van Van, I mentioned the other day, he really has a go. This is the fellow who was catapulted into the Tour de France at the last minute when Moncassin ricked his ankle getting off the podium when the day before the Tour started, when they presented the team. He was suddenly whistled into the Tour, didn't expect it to happen, and this young rider, he's only about 21 years of age.
22 years of age then, yeah. 2 only, very, very good.
And he's had a go every day, determined to show himself. Of course, the trouble is, they've only done 900 kilometres so far, and we've got something like 3,900 to do, so he's got a long way to go yet.
Well, at this rate, you can see in England yesterday, the lads were going very fast. They were doing a 45-kilometre average speed for the day, and today they're doing 270 kilometres, and the speed they've been going has been incredible. They got off to a late start this morning, but they're they're definitely trying to regain the lost time that this morning. I don't know how the lads are going to arrive when they get down to the mountain, because we cannot keep up this riding day in, day out, and still be fresh when they hit the mountains in 1 week's time.
And the big pack here, will they get a sprint finish in Rennes? It's going to be another of the stages that is part of the Brittany Ferries 4 stages special prize. Each day there's an award for the winner of the stage by Brittany Ferries, and they're going to give a prize overall for the man who's got the best points on the 4 legs so far. 15,000 French francs waiting in addition to the 25,000 given by the organisation for the victor of today's stage. The gap's gone up to 1 minute and 7 seconds.
Yellow jersey on the road.
He is, yes.
It's a very fine performance by the English riders this year, with Chris Boardman the first of the days and Sean Yates also, whereas now, like, it's highly likely that this group will go to the end, and Sean could be in yellow. Would be fantastic. Another once again for the British, but Sean, at least he can say, well, I've been unofficially in the yellow jersey for a couple of hours. And
I forgot to have that pint of Guinness you promised me while we were in England as well, so I've got to go all the way back round now to Paris and go and Conall Carr's bar, I suppose, in Paris, have a pint of Guinness there. I'll have to wait to the finish.
I don't understand why the GB are taking it so long to get their act together, because normally if they should be feeling the danger now, and they should be more of them up around the front. So maybe they're waiting for the telecom to come through, or the Palty riders to come through. I don't know, but it's confusing me at the moment.
This is certainly helping Britain. Sean Yates, the Motorola rider, up in that leading group with his teammate Frankie Andrew. Yates is certainly known as a strong man indeed, but Andrew has been putting in some very good rides as well this year, so he has blossomed forth into quite a good, useful rider. But the field behind him is not working as well before. It's all broken up. We've got Mercatone in front, then Castorama, then we've got one from the Onse team in the pink, and going back behind that, Telecom is certainly sitting on it, and Motorola now begin to block any of the attempts to pull back that group. This is a fascinating race at the moment.
Start.
As we see our friend El Diablo's bike here, this is our bike we saw in the first few days. It's a German guy who got sponsored this year. Every year for the last 10 years or so, he's followed the Tour de France with a different kind of bike. This year he got his bike sponsored. He made a new bike, and he's made the wheels full of footballs to commemorate the World Cup. And he found every stage. He was in England the last 2 days with a smaller bike because he couldn't get his bike on the boat. But he's here every day with about 10 to 15 kilometers to go. He's there every day, shouting and crying after the riders. El Diablo, El Diablo, El Diablo means I'm the devil, I'm the devil, I'm the devil.
Yeah, his bike had got sort of all the flags of all the nations across it, hadn't it? Little things painted on plaques all over the place. I saw it at Dover Castle as well. What a character. Well, this race then is full of incident drama. There's characters coming on the race. Some people just take their holidays and come across and watch the Tour de France, and you keep seeing the same people on the side of the road. They leapfrog forward, and I suppose the Dutch are already going down the Alpe d'Huez because they make it their home territory when the Tour de France goes there. But right now then, if only that break stays away, more Brits might be climbing onto the ferries and the airplanes and the coaches to go down to see some more of this racing, if only we get Sean Yates into yellow. But we've got our fingers crossed for him, and Motorola begin to move up there to try and help it disrupt the chase. There's Michael Dernis just going through, again a well-known rider as far as the Brits concerned. I think he won the Kellogg's Pro Tour about 4 years ago. Zuller here in the pink on the right-hand side. So
Andre Schmiel also here, and Andre Schmiel here as well, and Ralph Sorensen with the GB team.
So the GB team at long last getting back in the action. They've got the message from the team car behind that Yates is a danger man, and let's keep our fingers crossed then for the British rider and for the Motorola team in particular, because they've been trying so hard. They just lost to the GBMG team by 6 slender seconds in the team time trial, the chance of winning that particular stage, and now this group up in front working very well indeed to try and stay away. Yates, it's Andrew at the back then for Motorola. Yates is in there as well.
It'll be a great turnaround of a situation if Yates could get the jersey. I'm sure he was never expected to be even in the position to even think about having a yellow jersey on his bike. I'm sure at this stage in the race now, with only some 10 to 15 kilometers to go, it is very possible to have the yellow jersey, although looking at the group now, the American Tona Una riders are coming to the front to help the GB riders ride. That gap will come down very quickly, and as we know, Yates is only 38 seconds away from the yellow jersey, but in a final the seconds come down very quickly. They have 1 minute or a little over 1 minute now ahead of the group, ahead of the main bunch, but as we all know, a bunch riding along at 75 kilometers an hour in the final 10 kilometers brings down any gap very, very quickly.
Yates could actually sprint as well. I remember the occasion in the Nissan Tour of Ireland when he outsprinted Sean Kelly in Cork. We had a terrible day. It poured with rain, and it was a disgusting day on the circuit in Cork, and had got St Patrick's Hill as well. And Sean Kelly and Sean Yates had worked very well. In fact, Sean Kelly had taken Yates up the big climbs, and Yates, a good descender, was taking Kelly down them. And as they came down the finish, all we knew that Sean was going to win. We didn't know which one, you see, and he just pipped him at the line, but Sean was the overall victor that year on the Nissan Classic, and Yates got his second place. Here he is then in this breakaway group.
In this situation, though, Sean is not going for a state win. He'd be going for the possibility of getting the yellow jersey.
How about 20 seconds is he bonus if he gets it?
Exactly, but he wouldn't. Sean is riding too hard here to even think about getting having a stage win. I'm sure he's not even thinking about the stage, the bonuses. I would see the fantastic camera work here as the rider just go out and around these roundabouts. Pleased to see the lads coming and say, oh, where are the lads going to go? But the lads automatically find a natural path through anywhere, and they can then just join up again after the roundabouts. But I'm saying Sean, though, he's going at the moment for the overall classification, not going for it's a very dangerous part of the road here, going on those islands there. Roundabouts are okay, but going around these bollards makes it very dangerous.
And the actual islands, they're cambered, as you look at them. There's a little slope up on towards the flower beds there, and they're cambered, so you twist your bike one way and then over the other. No, I'm just being nationalistic and hoping you get the bonus, Stephen.
Yeah, when you have Bontempi and these guys, which are really incredible sprinters, you haven't got a chance. But Andreu and Sean, those two will be doing the most of the work in this group, hoping to open the gap up to a maximum before they get to the finish. As you see the two of them here on the front, and the other guys don't seem to be giving them very much of a hand at the moment. The Japarov was there, so very sorry, Dave.
That's the first place.
If we do get to the sprint, they'll be going for at least second place. I just hope now this group doesn't adapt the same tactics as Girotto and Lietti adapted early on by sitting on in the group with Thierry Mari, because they're getting so close to the finish now. I just hope they don't take the same attitude.
So that's Abdul Japarov at the back, Frankie Andrew just in front of him, Yates there, number 39, the white colours, the black, yellow and red of Hepner, the telecom rider, their national champion, up in front for the Gavis team in the sort of blue coloured jersey. And they've now got some 5 kilometres to go. Bontempi is the one in the Gavis coloured jersey up in front, and then Bortolami has just come off his wheel, riding for Carrera. Now they are really stretching this thing out, they are giving this one some real sense. So that's Bortolami just gone through there now, as after the work being done by Bontempi. And Abdul Japarov's being dropped.
No, he's not being dropped. He just got a little bit out of the slipstream. But I'm very surprised that he's not actually going through Abdul Japarov, because he's even if he goes through and does work, like, he's every chance of winning the stage, better chance than even Bontempi or any of them. So it's surprising he's not going through, because this could actually be the downfall of this break, because everybody knows that if everybody rides, Abdul Japarov is the fastest, but if Abdul Japarov does not ride at all, he's too fast for everybody else. So this could be the downfall of the break. If the riders not looking at each other, you might just find Sean Yates and Andreu riding by themselves at the front of the group.
And the yellow Mavic car I saw behind them says that the gap is certainly still over 30 seconds. They haven't pulled that car through. And there, my watch is 1 minute and just 1 minute for that gap then. The gap is just on 1 minute at the 5. 1 second, yeah, absolutely tremendous. So I was about to stop my watch, because I thought it was, it's about 35 seconds, and the camera wasn't going to pick up the 5 kilometre go, but bang, it was 1 minute and 1 second. No wonder the GBMG team are murdering themselves now, because Yates is technically in the yellow jersey, coming up toward the 4 kilometres to go point.
if the boys just don't look around each other now, the group to stay away to 50 seconds maybe, but they must just keep right. They must hold their heads down now to the finish. Abdul-Jabbarov now has sensed maybe the group is coming down their backs now, so he's maybe going to start riding again, which would be a very good thing for the group, because Abdul-Jabbarov was a very good rider himself, and when he rides team time trials, he always gives an awful lot of energy.
Well, Bontempi, this big man here, will certainly be helping this one on, because he will have a chance of getting probably, we won't say who's going to get second place, I suppose, with Abdul-Jabbarov in that little lot there. But it's slowed down a bit, my goodness, on this little slope up here.
Sean's easing off, Sean, keep going, Sean, think of yourself.
No, they're going to tell him his lead. They're going to shout up what it is. That's it. Yeah. You're in the yellow if you keep it going. The word will be going across now, and he's suddenly gone back to life again. 3 kilometres to go, and the gap.
There's Sean going down a gear. That's the captain has the boat in order again. As we call Sean Yates the captain, by the way, Dave.
Sorry?
We always call Sean Yates the captain, so because he's always kind of, you can tell him he's always governing it. When he's yachting and everything else, he's always in control of the boat, so we always call him the captain. And when he's in the team, he's always the captain as well, so he just puts the power and keeps going and going and going. As Abdul-Jabbarov is the front, so it's...
Abdul-Jabbarov now realises if he keeps going, this group is going to stay away, and that'll ease a sprint for him. Well, there's some pretty hefty good blokes, you know. Hepner's quite good when it comes to quick sprints. So is Bontempi, so it might be that Yates might be out of any bonuses at all. The 20 seconds for first, then 12 for second, and 8 seconds bonus for the third place man across the line.
What are they doing here, Dave? Look at them. Look. Dave, this is very frustrating. They're very frustrating. Here they are going along 3 kilometres to finish with the two Motorola riders together. Right, look at them here. Look. And this is incredible, Dave. I don't understand.
Well, Abdul-Jabbarov has gone off the front, and Yates couldn't hold his wheel. And hang on, who's Andrew gone down this side?
Yeah, that's Sean.
They're jumping all over the place at the moment, and we're just waiting for a check on this. It is Yates that's gone, isn't it? It's Yates that's gone, because this is Andre back here.
There, yeah. No,
here's
Sean's
Yates.
there.
Oh!
Get your finger out, lads. This is incredible, Dave. I've never seen. Look at it. The two lads here, the yellow chairs in the pocket, and here they are playing cat and mouse.
And the man's gone down the road as well. Yeah. And Abdul-Jabbarov, come on, you lot.
It's incredible, Dave.
Well, Andrew should go on the front and bury himself now for sure, because I mean Sean's better placed on GC than he is. Surely.
Two of them should go on the front. The first and second on GC tonight.
Oh, and that it's Bortolami, I think, has just disappeared down the road. He's just gone and just left this little lot, and they just let him go.
I don't know who's dishing out team tactics here, Dave, but I tell you one thing, it baffles me. He hasn't read the same rule book as I have.
Because Bortolami riding for Map A class, had a bluish-coloured jersey with bits of red on it as well. That confused me, because I could see that Andrew was back in the pack, and he is right the way down the road. Well, he decided to flop off down there. It might be a sensible move as far as he's concerned, but our camera's not gone back now to look at that main group and to see if they're being stretched. Here's Bortolami rocking on the front of the saddle. He's pulled himself right over the bracket to get more pressure on. He's inside 1 kilometre to go. And... well, I'm not going to bother to check the gap back to the big bunch when they come in. The big thing we're going to have to check on our watches now, and if they're coming up now to 1 kilometre, this is Yates under there now. The big bunch will be accelerating.
I hope they haven't realised too late. He's got to keep the gear rolling, Sean.
And I hope they don't start hanging about and doing a cat and mouse sprint either, because as they come...
still in the front, he's still going.
Into sight of the finish swings Bortolami. Behind him, Sean Yates, who could be in yellow if that gap back to Van Zella is...
yes, but if Andrew beats him in the sprint. This is terribly frustrating.
20 seconds goes to this fellow on the line anyway now.
Sean Abdul-Jabbarov.
There's 12 seconds going. Then there's 8 seconds. Sean Yates, come to the line quick, and let's get the clock going on the gap back to the
bunch hasn't come around the corner yet. The bunch haven't come around the corner yet, Dave.
I've got the clock on it now, because the man over the line says 6 seconds, but they get back to behind, and it's touch and go here. Remember, it was 38 seconds. There's two less than that actually, Stephen, because the man over the line, that's not Yates' time. Yates is about 2 less than that one, and it's got to go to 38, and if it is, with Gandine on the clock, 25, 26, 27, they're hanging on the barriers here with bated breath to see if Yates takes the yellow jersey. They're still thundering down here. It's just got some 4 seconds, and he looks like he's going to get it. The yellow jersey is going to Sean Yates today in Rennes. This is absolutely brilliant for Britain. We had 2 great days there, and now Yates is in yellow.
8 seconds. Sean has a jersey for 8 seconds. What another great day. Even though I said the tactics are bad, he still has it. But
I'm speechless again.
Oh, I tell you, this is terrible, David. It's not very good for my heart watching the boys playing around like that. They're playing with fire, they were.
Stephen, you're my lucky leprechaun. You come across here as my co-commentator. We haven't got any Irish in there now, and the Brits have come on song. That is electric.
It's electrifying, Dave. I tell you, I was watching the 2 boys playing around cat and mouse there a few minutes ago. I was very frustrated for myself because I knew that they could take the jersey, and I was afraid of just watching the jersey going away from them there because they were afraid of putting the head down. But lucky enough, Sean Yates saw the danger, put his head down the last kilometre and a half, and gave it everything he had. And once again, the captain was a good captain.
And in all our emotions for yellow, let's not forget the man crossing the line for Guisbelin in first place. There he goes over the line, a delighted and a very well judged ride as far as he's concerned, Bontempi, to take that stage. And
well, I'm sure, Dave, the GB team will be regretting it tonight. As I was saying earlier on, that the GB riders possibly did not recognise the danger by having Yates and Andrew in the front. So they probably realised it too late, and probably only realised now when they've crossed the line and the speaker is saying Sean Yates must be in yellow. They're saying, well, where have they come from? So I'm sure tonight they'll be getting a telling off, because like Sean Yates is a very good sprinter as well, and he can kind of go around in the sprint, and we'll see how tomorrow for the bonifications.
Well then, Bortolami took the stage. Looks like Serrata coming in, that little group behind, into 6th spot. But undoubtedly, brilliant victory for Bortolami. But Sean Yates takes the yellow jersey in Rennes. Well. Looking in this pack to see where the yellow jersey is, we were earlier on calculating that Museo was technically the yellow jersey leader for getting 6 seconds bonus in one of the sprints earlier on during the day, and that he would have taken off Vanzella. But I see Vanzella right in the midst of that pack there, and as Steve was saying, yes, probably not realised.
Museo got a bonus during the day.
He got 6 seconds.
Yeah, it's just 2 seconds maybe. Oh. So it's unofficial, Dave.
You mean Yates might, because at 2 seconds, 30, 40.
Normally 8 seconds. Normally he has about 2 seconds. Normally, if my calculation is correct.
Well, Museo was 4 seconds down on Vanzella this morning.
Yeah, so nobody has announced it officially as yet, Dave, so let's hope we haven't gone on too quickly.
Well, it was 48 seconds down there. Less 2 is 46. He was 38, so that's 8 seconds. Less 4. It might be a 4 seconds benefit to Yates. There might be 4 seconds in it. Well, you need to have a degree in mental arithmetic here, and +1 in holding stopwatches to see where the yellow goes. But everybody's going up on the VIP rostrum here, and Sean will be waiting with bated breath. We're not quite sure yet. They're all still here waiting for the official results. That 6 seconds vital bonus, but it won't affect the overall victor. That was a well-judged ride then by the Mappe class rider. Gianluca Bortolami from Italy, scoring what would therefore be, I suppose, their 201st stage victory in the Tour de France, according to Stephen Roche's figures. So that's another victory for the Italians who've been dominating bike racing so far this year. Stage victory into Rennes for Gianluca Bortolami of the Mappe class team. A well-judged ride, just got him over the line in first place. He wouldn't be bothered about those 20 seconds bonus. Have a look, he's fairly well down on general classification, but nevertheless, the elation of winning the stage, because he gets not only 25,000 French francs, but he also gets 15,000 from Brittany Ferries as part of the competition. There, Abdou Japarov in second, Sberg in third, Bontempi fourth, Hepton in fifth. I'm sorry we didn't call those in our attempts to check the position of Yates, but nevertheless, another ride for Abdou Japarov to getting some hatful of points for his green jersey in the points competition. Abdu here, we're a bit disappointed not getting the result, but he's still in the green jersey. Abdu Japarov in green. Who is going to be in yellow? That is a question everybody's asking here, because 6 seconds that Museo got on one of the sprints further down there could be the vital difference to it. And Abdu Japarov not too happy with that one. He had the strength to outsprint the little group he was with, but not the strength to catch Bortolami, who was just 2 seconds ahead of him on the line. Well, these are very nervous moments indeed, and after 2 tremendous days in Great Britain, when the crowds came out in their thousands and encouraged the riders, everybody here has been talking about that, and they'll be talking to if only Yates gets that yellow jersey. But what if it's equal now? Then that's going to be what happens if they're equal on time here? They'll have to go back, I think it is, to look at the split time in the prologue time trial and to see how they went there. And I suspect that on that time, if they're equal time and they go to the split, I think they go to the split. I'll have to ask Stephen this question. Stephen, stick your headphones on and we'll dig in our books. Now, if they're equal on time, presumably they'll go back to the prologue and go to the tenths of a second.
No, normally as far as I would go on the points.
On the points position?
Yeah.
Right, that's the points competition.
But Lucio will have had more points than Sean, that's for sure.
He would do, yes, yeah.
But I don't think it's down to points, Dave. I think he has it by a second or two.
Who's that?
No, Sean.
Yeah.
My fingers
Don't
crossed.
give me a heart attack, please.
But I can't see him around. I've been looking out for him there going into the winner's enclosure, and he hasn't yet gone in. I've listened to Daniel Monjas to see what he's saying, and nobody's giving anything away yet.
Okay, you take your headphones off and listen for any information you can out there. And the yellow jersey. It is Sean Yates! Oh, this is brilliant. Yes.
It's possible, yeah, it's possible.
Well, there's Sean Yates. We're going to try and attempt the impossible Eurosport, by the way. We don't have online cameras here, and we're going to see if we can get Stephen Roche to just talk to the press office and see if we can get him brought along here to the point just below us so that Yates can actually talk to you. And I'm just saying this to our people back in Paris so that they can alert the rest of our team, so that perhaps we might be able to get these few moments. We just don't know. We don't have much time we've got left before we go off air here live from Rennes on this glorious moment for Sean Yates. Glorious moment for Great Britain. Glorious moment for Motorola too, who tried so hard to win that team time trial, which gave him a very good placing, just 6 seconds down on GBMG. But today Sean used that slender gap he got between himself and the yellow jersey to plough away just before the finish and came across the line. We think it's just about 2 or 3 seconds he's got on Van Zelle, but here it's 1 second. Oh, that's not that. It's 1 second by Bortolami. In fact, I didn't check the overall. He's just 1 second back on Yates because he got 20 seconds bonus. Museo is 4 back, so all that jumping up and down, we didn't check Bortolami's position, and we're just waiting then to see if we can get those words with Sean as he's coming down the banging. Oh, well, we've got 20 seconds to go to the end, so it might be too late to have our chat with Sean Yates here, because a great scrum of people, and there's interviews going on across the far side there, so I think we've probably lost this one at the moment, but it's been a great day then, as far as we're concerned. Sean Yates just by 1 second, the yellow jersey in the 1994 Tour of Britain. Myself, Stephen Roche, myself, David Duffield. We are elated with today's race, and we hope you are. Join us on Eurosport again tomorrow.